Hey everybody, this is Christian and today I'm reviewing the UGREEN NAS DH4300 Plus. It's a new value series device in the UGREEN NAS family, so it comes with a few limitations for power users, but it is a pretty interesting deal for smaller environments because it has an efficient ARM CPU, a lot of memory and some cool features like AI-powered photo recognition, Docker support and HDMI output for direct 4K playback. And honestly, I think the design is pretty slick. It fits perfectly on any desk without taking too much space because the engineers found a clever way of mounting hard drives. And because UGREEN sent me this device for testing, today I'm giving you my honest and humble opinion on it, and more importantly, who I think this device is actually good for. So let's get started. Alright, so now let's take a closer look at the hardware specs and more specifically on the disk layout, because I think this is where UGREEN did something different instead of traditional front-loading trays, because with the DH4300 Plus, you easily slide in the drives vertically from the top. You just lift off the magnetic top cover where you get access to all of the 4 drive bays. By the way, each bay supports either 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch SATA drives with a maximum capacity of 120 terabytes. So 4 times 30 terabyte drives. And of course, this NAS device supports multiple RAID configurations for redundant storage like JBOD, RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 6 and RAID 10. I personally would recommend for most home users or home lab nerds RAID 5 because there you get the capacity of 3 hard drives, you got some decent performance and protections against one drive failure, but alternatively you could also set up something different like RAID 10, which gives you the best performance, but it also cuts your capacity in half. With a UGREEN NAS, you got all the choices and it basically depends on your personal priorities, so what matters more to you, speed, capacity or redundancy. What's also interesting about this NAS, the heart of it, is the Rockchip RK3588 processor, which is an 8-core ARM CPU with a hybrid architecture. It has 4 Cortex A76 cores, so these are the powerful ones, and 4 Cortex R55 cores, the more efficient ones. And yes, because of the ARM architecture, you lose some advanced features you might be missing from this NAS, like you cannot run any virtual machines on it, you don't have iSCSI support, and you don't get any 10 gigabit Ethernet or Thunderbolt ports. But for a small home lab NAS, I personally think most people don't need that anyway. And on the other side, you have some advantages, like you get low power consumption. I personally measured around 6 to 7 watts on idle, even with all the drives plugged in, so when they're shut down, so that you can just safely run this 24/7 and you don't have to care about power consumption at all. It also produces low heat and it quietly operates. And in the ARM space, it is actually a very powerful device. Yeah, the clock speed of this CPU is around 2 GHz and it even boosts up to 2.4 GHz, which is pretty impressive for an ARM-based NAS. And it even comes with 8 GB of DDR4X memory. And yes, it's soldered on the board, so it's not upgradable. But honestly, 8 GB is plenty for what this device is designed to do. And you still get 1 USB-C port on the front, 2 USB-A ports on the back, and a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port, and also an HDMI port that supports 4K at 60 Hz, where you can connect this directly to a TV or monitor. Plus, the operating system on this device runs from a dedicated 32 GB eMMC module, which means that all the data drives stay completely free for just storage. So I think this is pretty decent. If you compare this to other competitors, for example, like the Synology DS423 Plus that costs around like $400-500, that only comes with a quad-core ARM CPU and only 2 GB of memory and just 1 gigabit Ethernet, or the QNAP TS433 is around like $400 and it also has only a quad-core ARM CPU, 4 GB of memory and a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port. So at the end of the day, if you just compare the hardware specs of the UGREEN DS4300 Plus, it's giving you more cores, more memory, and the same or better network speeds. And by the way, UGREEN still has a Black Friday sale with about 25% discount, where you can get this device for around $340. So that's why I personally think it's a really great deal. Of course, you will find a link to the UGREEN's website and their offering in the description box down below. But of course, when we are reviewing this device, we cannot just compare the pure hardware specs, because we also should take a look at the software. So the device is running the UGREEN's proprietary NAS operating system, UGOS. And I honestly haven't found any instructions to flash the internal eMMC with a different system, probably because most systems won't support ARM anyways. So I don't believe that you can easily install any other operating system of your choice, which might be a downside for some home lab people. But I can say the UGREEN's operating system is pretty nice. It has a clean browser-based intuitive system that is super easy to use. The initial setup is also pretty easy, and it of course has many features for file management and sharing. It supports all the standard protocols like SMB, NFS, and you can easily create folders with setting granular permissions, create user accounts, create groups and quotas, and you can even set up share links with password protections and expiry dates, so you can easily share data to somebody else. And it also has some clever backup options like automatic photo and video backup from your smartphone. It has scheduled backups from your PC or Mac. It even supports USB backup, so you just plug in an external hard drive and copy the files directly. And you can also synchronize to Google Drive, Dropbox, etc. and even supports NAS to NAS replication for offsite backups. So I think that should fit most of the needs for a small home lab NAS. There's one thing that is pretty special about this device, and this is the AI-powered photo management. So this is where the NPU in the RK3588 chip comes into play, because this allows the UGREEN NAS to do facial recognition, so it can learn your faces and group photos automatically. I've just tested this with a few examples, and that seems to work pretty great. And it also supports object and scene recognitions. So if you upload your holiday photos and you search for beach or forest or something, yeah, it automatically finds all these photos, and it also detects duplicate photos. And of course, it also has many multimedia functions like built-in apps for photos, music and video. It has DLNA, UPnP media server, the HDMI output with theater mode, where you can directly connect this to a TV and browse the media, supporting 4K playback at 60 Hz. And if you want to stream videos or files to other devices, you can even install some small media Docker containers, because yes, this device also fully supports Docker, which I think is really great for home lab people. You can run any ARM compatible containers here, like Portainer for example works great for container management. And this really opens up a lot of possibilities, like installing Home Assistant, installing Nextcloud or other media servers. Just remember that this is still an ARM architecture, so make sure that the containers are ARM64 compatible, and you probably don't have a lot of memory to run an entire application server on this. But I think this is not really what this device is meant for. It's really a multimedia station with a solid and redundant storage. So my honest take on the UGREEN NAS DH4300 Plus is, I think it's perfect for home users, yeah, families, small offices, anyone who needs reliable storage without the complexity of the power consumption of bigger systems. Yes, it has some limitations, yeah, it misses 10 gigabit Ethernet, no virtual machines, no iSCSI, but let's be real, most people searching for a value series NAS device don't need that stuff anyways. And on the other side, you do get 8 cores, 8 gigabytes of memory, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, Docker support, AI photo recognition, and an incredibly low power consumption. So it's probably not the perfect device for everybody, especially power users probably want a little more. But for what it is, and for the price and the target audience, I think it's pretty hard to beat. But of course, you can now let me know in the comments what are your thoughts about this device. Do you like it? And as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to all the supporters of my channel. You guys are really amazing. And I'm gonna catch you in the next video. Take care.